Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM.
Brought to you proudly by Sportsman's Warehouse, the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and Avery Superstore.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, the fastest 90 minutes in outdoor radio program. It's hard to believe we've just about wrapped up today's show. Frank Barton in, as he usually is, from on the third Saturday of each month. And I appreciate Frank setting up that wonderful interview with Jack Combs related to the upcoming 2019 Master Nationals over in Cheraw, South Carolina. And 1,019 dogs entered, including 2 poodles, which are owned by Jack Combs. And that was a pretty fascinating interview with Jack about how he hunts with poodles. And so another thing that we've been talking about earlier in the show with our TWRA segment, talking about CWD, and another county has been affected here in our area, Tipton County. Well, I thought it was really good when I got some information from my good friend Phil Robinson from Wildlife Research Center, which has been really a helpful part of Outdoors with Larry Ray for these 19 years that we've been on the air, about some really work called the CWD Evolution, and also about the RT Quick Test for CWD and natural deer urine. And so, yeah, we're going to talk deer urine. So if you hadn't had breakfast, too bad, okay? We're still going to talk about it because I've been talking about it for all my life, just about. And Phil said, well, man, don't talk to me. Talk to Dr. Davin Henderson. He is a Ph.D. from the University of Minnesota in biochemistry, molecular biology, all these different things. Assistant professor at Colorado State University, where he focused on understanding the potential replication of the potential of chronic wasting disease. He is currently the founder of CWD Evolution LLC, which has developed the RT Quick Test for CWD, and we're really glad to have Dr. Henderson with us this morning. Good morning, David.
Good morning. How are you doing?
On Saturday morning early in California, I need to ask how you're doing. Okay, so yeah,
no problem. I'm doing
but
great.
I thank you for coming on with us. And this is a subject, of course, it's very Tennessee is one of those areas, particularly where I hunt, has been affected by CWD, and I've used Wildlife Research Center products, Tinks and other ones, for over the years. And there's been a lot of questions about what you can use and what you can't use. And so let's talk about the CWD Evolution, about RT Quick Test. Tell us what we got going here.
Right. So I was contacted by Phil Robinson and Sam Bergerson of Wildlife Research a little while back, and I got it to start talking with them about what we can do to try to make sure states are using the best science for deer urine products, and there was a number of states that were trying to ban the products. And over the years, I went out and got down and talked to some people in the states, and eventually it came to the point where Phil and Sam were asking me, do you think you could develop a test for this product? And I said, I think I can. That's basically the same test we used to discover that CWD was present in the urine anyways. And so I started a company and got some funding together to get some equipment to do this test in the private sector, as well as got some help to secure a patent to do this test. So the test is really sensitive for detection of CWD. It's different than what's available from regular testing agencies like USDA or the state veterinarian.
Yeah.
So it's extra sensitive, so it's capable of detecting CWD in a product like urine, where if it was present, it would be present at really low levels where those other tests didn't work. So we basically needed to come up with a new test in order to get it to work here in these products, and make sure these products are safe for states to be able to allow their people in the states to be able to use them.
And so over how period of a time here have you progressed to where you've now got this agreement, and for certain that the product is safe to use? So how long have you been working on this?
So this is pretty new. This year, we're planning to roll out the test for Wildlife Research and Tinks.
Yes.
And then a number of states decided, actually two states at this point decided that they wanted to have all the products in their states tested. Louisiana said that there's a lot more interested in this test. So I started basically in May, getting this off the ground as a research test, and this summer I've been able to master that test to the point where it's working effectively to detect CWD and make sure that the urine being used in the products does not have CWD prior to bottling. So all tests for chronic wasting disease are either positive or not detected, even by state agencies. So this test doesn't say there's no CWD in it, just like all tests, but it tells you whether or not there's CWD at any level that would be at any risk to wildlife. It's well below, 100-fold below where we know it would be infectious to a deer.
And I know that looking at this, and I've known Phil for a long time, that he says we're 100% confident that our products pose no risk of spreading CWD. Now, there is so much misinformation, you know that.
That's right.
Out there that people take for granted. And I noticed that the states that had banned them, now you say that they've reversed their decision, including Alabama, Tennessee, and Louisiana. So
that's right.
So that in your mind, you've convinced them of this, and this is products that we've been using for years. I mean, I've been using Tinks forever, But
I think 60 years scent products have been used.
Yeah, 60 years. So when they came to you with this, did you jump at this? Did this sound like? Are you a hunter? Did you jump at this and say I want to do this?
I'll tell you the story how it happened. I was an assistant professor at Colorado State. I was sitting there in my office, and Phil Robinson called me up, and I never talked to anybody in the deer urine industry or even really used deer urine. I mean, I'm a fisherman. I haven't hunted yet, but that I wouldn't. All right. I was just, it wasn't a tradition in my family, but we did a lot of fishing, ocean fishing and trout fishing. So Phil called me up, and he told me that states were banning deer urine.
Yes.
And I said, well, why are they doing that? And he said, well, they think it has CWD. And he said, well, I asked him, how much is in the product? A couple of the questions. And he said, do you think our products pose a risk for wildlife? And I said, no. And he's like, really? Did you come tell people that?
Yes.
And I said, well, and he said, because they're citing your papers that you've been on to justify the ban. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. I'd never heard of that before. And no one came and asked me from those states what I thought about banning these products. They just took the research that they found in the literature and interpreted it to that the deer urine was a risk. And when we got in the room and I got to sit down with some of the people in the different states in Tennessee or in Louisiana and talk about it and get to know the science and get to know some of the real specific details that that may have just kind of slipped through the cracks when they were reading those papers in the first place. I live and breathe this stuff, and they have to deal with all kinds of things in the wildlife departments. It's not just deer. They have ducks, and in Louisiana they even have oysters and shrimp.
Yes,
they got a lot to worry about. So I'm an expert in this field, and when we all got to sit down and talk about it, some of those bans were reversed just by talking about one another, and the Louisiana one turned out that they wanted to have the urine tested, and that's kind of where I am now, and I'm testing the deer urine from a number of different companies, and hoping next year that all the deer urine that's sold in the United States under the ATA logo will be tested and have the RT Quick Tested logo as well. So that's the goal, and I'm hoping that happens, and we're on track to do that for next year. And this year, majority of the urine is going to be tested. And
you had a chance to? Did you come to Tennessee? Did you actually talk to some of the folks here? I did. I think I visited Tennessee. I only went to Tennessee once, but I was there. I went to the state capitol and talked with lawmakers. We talked with the Department of Wildlife. I testified in front of both the Senate and House Agriculture Committees in Tennessee. And they were curious about it. They wanted to know why the department was banning it, and so I came and with Phil and Sam and presented what we knew about it, and eventually it worked out that they decided not to institute that ban. Wow. Well, I know that's a financial crisis it could have been, because Phil and Sam have been in this business a long time, as you talked about it. Again, we're talking to Dr. Davin Henderson about the CWD evolution, but really the RT Quick Test. And that name is kind of, I didn't even know how to pronounce it. You told me that. But the name itself is, so you've taken products made by the Wildlife Research Center and tested and looked at and things along that line, because it is 100% deer urine. I mean, we're not, you can't beat around the bush about that. But none of the deer that the urine comes from have tested CWD, so there's no way to transmit CWD through that, I imagine.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of where we started was, if the deer urine comes from farms that don't have CWD, and even if there was CWD in the deer urine, the levels would be so low that it would be difficult to start an infection anyway. And then it just got to the point where people just started asking for a test, and they said, well, let's just test it just to be sure. And I said, well, that's fine with me. I think it just adds. I think people like to have a some sort of tangible result to show that the product has this result, and that you can look at that and point to it and say, okay, I can see that this product is safe, or this lot of deer urine is safe to be put in products.
The reputation for the company, the reputation for this company is well known and things along that line. But very interested, Davin. Thank you for taking time on this Saturday morning. I think educational folks, this is really interesting. You could, I guess they can go online, Davin, to read more about this.
That's right.
Where can they find out more about this?
CWDevolution.com or testcwd.com. Both go to the
same
place.
It's real simple. I went there and looked at them and everything, and so I'll have mine with me in the woods come October the 28th when our muzzleloading season starts, and I can't wait to do that. Thank you, buddy, and great information, folks. So go to those and check them out. Thank you, Davin. Have a great Saturday, okay? Thank you. All right. Let's take a break before we do. We're going to wrap up this show, and I'm going to tell you about next week because we're not taking any more breaks. I'm out of the show. But next week, Ron Wong, Bill Cooksey will be in the studio with us, co-host. Ron's going to give us a wrap-up on the American Crappie Trail Tournament on Washita River near Monroe. We're going to visit with the man himself, Mr. Crappie, Wally Marshall, because he's got a big Crappie Expo coming up over in Hot Springs real soon. And then we're going to visit with Matt Simcox and Mike Butler of the Tennessee Wildlife Federation, talking about their hunter education, their Hunters for the Hungry program. And then there's a big Friends of NRA banquet coming up, and we hope to hook up with Mitch Dean to tell us about that. But, Frank, thank you for being with us.
Thank you,
Larry. It was fun. Thank you for that Jack Combs interview, Sue, that's for sure. And everything going all right with you? Got any poker runs today? Anything going on?
Today we're doing demos all day for slingshots.
For slingshots?
Slingshot Saturday demo day.
And that's on Mount Moriah. That address?
5715 Mount Moriah.
5715 Mount Moriah.
Headed there as soon as we go off the air.
Open at
8 o'clock today.
8 o'clock today. Okay. All right. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Shelby McCall, for taking care of us. This is Larry Ray reminding you each and every week, doesn't cost an extra cent to be a good sport. And what else?
God bless the USA.